Gorpade, who's writing in from Bengaluru, and he's asking about Lupin. He's holding at an average price of 1,000, which he's been holding since 2015. He wants to know whether to average at this price on the fundamentals. I'll come to you, Sharmila, on this one. On the fundamentals, would you suggest an average?
No, I wouldn't. You need to wait a bit, and the numbers for Lupin haven't really been that great, and I do believe that it will be. You need to give this some time before their new sort of initiatives fall in place. So I don't think it's time to average. I think continue to hold, but wait a bit before you average.
Right, this one is coming in from Ajay, and he's saying that he has a small quantity of Dr. Lal Patlas, which he's purchased at 3,700 rupees per share. He's asking whether he can average right now. He's saying he can average with double or triple quantity. So he wants to know whether he should average or just leave it and buy something else with that money. Kunal, this one is for you.
So I would suggest to average at current levels. May not be at double quantity, but even if you try and have the same value of averaging, you can probably bring your cost price on a net basis to maybe 2,500, 600 levels. So I think that could be the broader averaging which you can do. I would expect, so remember the reason why I'm saying that it's a very mild averaging kind of a stock, because it's still into a downward trend. You can expect that the stock may get into a counter rally mode, but then the rally would be very small, short term oriented for the stock price. So I think you can look to average at current levels, but I would expect the stock comes back, say, closer to 2,300, 400 levels. That could be a good level where you can look to maybe book out full profits and then get into the mainstream pharma names. I think something like Dr. Reddy and Divi's Lab look very attractive to me on the pharma pack overall.
Okay. The next question is coming in from Aarti, and this is a sectoral question. This one's for you, Sharmila. Would you deploy additional funds into real estate or auto stocks, which is primarily into commercial vehicles? And she's talking about escorts. This is from Aarti. And she's asking, alternatively, would you say that sugar or agri stocks are better from the perspective of at least 1 year?
I think that's a very complicated question to start with. So yes, so coming to the specific query, I think what are the two sectors? One is auto and the other is?
About realty, you're talking about real estate, and you're talking about commercial vehicles.
Yes. So real estate, the indications seem to be that in the urban context, things are beginning to look better. I prefer the south-based real estate developers. So I think that you could look at those. Prestige comes to mind, and so there are some names based in south of India, and their performance has been better than some of the other real estate companies. So I think you could look at that. When it comes to autos, I think CV cycle may still take a little time to revive. And when the CV cycle sort of revives, then it tends to stay sticky for a while. So if you buy into the CV cycle now, be prepared to wait for at least 3 to 5 years to really see any benefit. Within that space, escorts is a good stock. So yes, you can go ahead with escorts. But as I'm saying, keep in mind that your investment horizon will be 3 to 5 years. Then coming to agri chemicals or agri commodities, what was it? It was agri chemicals, right?
Agri and sugar stocks.
So sugar, obviously has been also buzzing because of this whole ethanol play, because as the crude prices being at heightened levels and the government making all the right kind of noises for mixing ethanol with petrol and diesel to bring prices down, that could see a decent run for a bit. But there again, I think you need to be very specific as to what stocks that you pick. I would probably be more in favor of the agri stocks, especially since we're just at the onset of a monsoon. Typically, in the shorter term, this could be a sector that could do better.
Right. This next one that I have is from Sakat Santosh Kumar, and he's writing to us, this is Hari. He's writing to us from Bangalore, and he's asking whether it's the right time to buy Axis Bank for the next 1 year. He wants a view on the charts. What's your take, Kunal? Do you think it makes sense to buy Axis Bank right now?
Yes, the stock is at a good support point. You look at the last 1 year, I think in July or June 2020, 21, the stock was almost at exactly the same point of 650, 670 levels for Axis Bank. So it's, come back towards the mean point of, the last 1.5 odd year for itself. So risk reward wise, price wise, the way the market structure has been set up, I believe that the banking stocks can stand to outperform. And within the banking names, we've seen that the private sector banks look to be more stronger and sturdier. So I believe Axis Bank on a net-to-net basis looks very attractive at current zone.
Technical view, I'm going to expand it to a sectoral view and ask you, Sharmila, about this, because the question coming from Rahul, he's writing from Pune, is he's asking how much upside would the bank nifty potentially have amid rate hikes, liquidity tightening and higher inflation trajectory?
Well, the factors that you mentioned, obviously, they're not going to play out so well for banking stocks. But what is playing out well for them is the fact that they seem to be having a better control over their NPAs, and for most of the major banks, you've seen really NPA levels lower. They managed to lower their NPA levels as compared to the quarter before. Also, I think in terms of the kind of economic recovery that we are seeing, probably you will see better numbers for banks on the revenue side. It's sort of that part of it is a little mixed just now, because you don't know how higher interest rates will affect people taking loans, but there seems to be an indication that economic activity is picking up. Also, I think post monsoon you will see a pickup in terms of government spending also, and that could also mean better thing for banks, because there will be a lot more like capital good projects, etc., going on stream, infra projects going on stream, and then you could see banks doing expanding their books from that perspective. So I would continue to be positive on some of the banks. I do like HDFC Bank at this level. I do like an ICICI Bank. So again, I think pick and choose. But in terms of factors like interest rate, etc., those would be negatives. But you do have some positives playing out for banks as well.
Okay, this one also is for you, Sharmila. This one is from Soumitra Joshi, and he wants to know about ICICI Lombard. He wants to know fundamentally how does ICICI Lombard look like, and also should he look to enter it, and if so, then what would be the right level?
Also, I think unfortunately what has happened is that this entire the insurance space hasn't really done all that well, and I think if you sort of see the chart of it, then both life insurance as well as the general insurance companies haven't really done much in terms of stock price. And within the basket, I would prefer the life insurance play to the general insurance play. So my bet would be more on that. So I really wouldn't buy an ICICI Lombard. What I would buy in the insurance space would be a basket of HDFC Life, SBI Life, and ICICI Pru Life, and probably LIC, giving it some months to settle down in terms of because it's just a recently listed stock. So I like to allow stocks like that to sort of settle down before I buy them. But for me, the strategy would be to buy a basket of these three stocks.
Okay, Lata's got a question on buying steel stocks today. Incidentally, Lata, we had a conversation about this at the start of the program in Buy Now, Sell Now Lens, BNSN Lens. And Kunal mentioned that he would wait to see what the moves would be over the course of the next week before he decides to buy. The next question is coming in from, I believe it's Vishal, and he's asking about the top 3 counters in the ethanol space that he can purchase with a 3 to 4 year perspective. One, Sharmila, is Praj, of course, but it's not playing it directly. Which would you say are the top picks in that space?
Obviously, I think Praj Industries has to be your sort of one stock in that list has to be Praj Industries, simply because they provide the engineering solutions for making ethanol. So whichever company, other company that you could talk of, that would be an obvious play, where biofuels and ethanol, etc., the whole story is concerned. Then I think probably you need to pick one sugar stock. Now I think there is where things get a little sort of tricky in that sense. But perhaps one of the stocks that you could consider could be Sri Renuka. That could be one. And I don't know which could be a third, maybe Dwarikesh Sugar. But there, I think you could choose. So, you would need to buy 2, 3 sugar stocks, but I think Praj Industries would have to be one stock.
All right, this one is from coming in from Aravind, who's writing to us for Goldime International. He's saying that the results are excellent, but he wants to know whether he should look to buy this counter at current market price for the next 1 year. What's your take on this one, Kunal? Goldime International, do you track this?
I've seen the charts, I believe, some time back, and doesn't look attractive to me. I think it's placed at 144, 45. The stock had a fabulous run, I think, from the 2020 lows. But when I look at the setup of volumes, the inconsistency of price trend, I would give it a pass. So would not recommend a buy on Goldium at current levels.
Next question is for you, Kunal, and this is from Jagdish. He's asking about June futures for a few stocks. He's talking about Canara Bank, Axis Bank, ICICI Bank. How would you play them?
Well, Canara Bank, I would look to go short, to put it very simply. Axis Bank and ICICI Bank, as I said earlier, that these are the two. Even create a basket and looking at the market volatility, I believe it makes sense to have maybe 2 buys and 1 sell, just purely as a hedge kind of a strategy. So I would probably go with Axis Bank and ICICI Bank as a long trade, and Canara Bank could be more of a short trade.
All right, this next one that I have is coming in from Shiva Bharat, and he wants a view on Delta Corp at current levels for a period of 2 years. How does Delta Corp look to you, Sharmila?
It looks good. Their recent results were sort of affected, meaning the quarter, the Jan to March sort of were affected because generally, because they had elections in Goa, as well as the fact that the pandemic situation was also not that great. But I think in the open up trade, this could be one of the stocks that could benefit because, we are seeing people take more holidays, and I think there would be one set of people who would want to go out and gamble, which is they do run casinos and they do have an online presence as well. So both things combined. So I actually quite like the stock, and I think going forward their results will also be better.
Another question coming your way, Sharmila. This is coming in from Sudha, and she's asking whether she should add Astral Limited to her portfolio. Alternatively, she's wondering whether to add into Mindtree or L&T Infotech.
I think L&T Infotech, because L&T Infotech and Mindtree are merging, as we heard. So I think it makes more sense to buy L&T Infotech. But Astral, I'm sorry, I don't cover.
Okay, this one is coming in for you. This one, actually, there's a lot of queries that are coming in for you, Kunal, and this one I'll take from Hetal, and she's saying that she has Privy Specialty Chemicals purchased at an average price of 1,650 rupees per share. Wants to know whether it's good to average or exit. Do you track this one by any chance, Kunal?
Not really. I don't track it, so won't be able to offer any comment.
Let's talk about Reliance Industries. Kunal Thakkar wants to know about May expiry. Any targets that you would have, Kunal?
Well, I would believe Reliance should do pretty well. The next 3 or 4 trading sessions. It's placed, I think, at 2600, 2610. The last I'd seen in futures, the May futures. My sense is that the May expiry for Reliance should be closer to 2700 or 2750. Now that would, of course, depend on if the markets also sustain a lot of the gains. But I believe that there should be at least another 70 to 80 point upside for Reliance from current zone.
All right, this one is from Sagar, and this one is for you, Kunal. He wants a technical view on FMCG index, saying he's bought a basket of FMCG stocks for a swing trade. It consisted of HUL, Colgate, Marico, Britannia, ITC, as well as Varun Beverages and UBL. So, because he feels that the FMCG inflation is done. So, what's your view on the FMCG index on the charts? How does it look?
Well, yeah, I think we were discussing about this last week or so as well, that how the FMCG stocks look attractive. HUL, Britannia, these stocks had, started to give breakouts for themselves. So looks attractive now from current zone. But I think now as a much better swing trade would probably be even the pharma index. I think there are a lot of stocks from the pharma pack which are now coming back quite strongly. The market is not talking about the pharma index, at least as of now, but then the charts have started to show signs of turnaround. So sooner than later, I think what has happened to the FMCG index over the last 2 months could probably happen to the pharma index going forward as well.
SML is Isuzu is the name of the counter, Kunal. We've got Puneet who's bought at levels of 600 and he's wondering whether his target of 650 is achievable in the near term.
Well, very much possible. The stock is at 598, 600 approximately. My sense is that the stock is just completed a mean reversion. The last 1 month back, I think Feb end, March and April start, the rally for SML Isuzu was quite steep, backed with very strong volumes. I believe that if you're patient enough for the next 3 to 6 months, the stock can come back towards at least 700, 720. So 650 could definitely be achievable.
All right, this one is from Neha and it's on Zenza Tech. This one also is for you, Kunal. She's saying she's bought Zenza Tech at a level of 362 rupees per share. She wants to know whether she can average now for the medium term, and her medium term is 3 to 6 months, or should she wait for some more correction? And which large and mid-cap IT stocks are looking good on the charts?
So Zensa Tech purely as a price point looks attractive, but then I would believe that the bounce could be just about some 8-10%. So 320, 330 could be a level of bounce which I would probably expect the rally can sustain towards. So if you're okay with a 10% kind of a move for Zensa Tech, then it makes sense to buy the stock at current levels. A much better bet would be to either have a basket of large cap names. So I believe Wipro, HCL Tech, Infi. And these are the three key names which I believe look very attractive as a contra buy, and I would expect that over the next 3 to 6 months, these stocks should try and get into a rally phase of at least 15% to 20% from the current zone.
A couple of names to talk about here, Sharmila, and we've got Sunil who's asking about SKF India and Schaeffler. I think he's holding on to both of these. He's asking the fundamentals, should he add to his position right now?
Oh, well, I think SKF he can definitely hold what he has, but I think a way to add, I wouldn't be in a hurry to add. Though numbers actually have been fairly decent for SKF. The other one, I'm afraid I don't track.
All right, with that, let's kickstart with the rapid fire then. And first one is coming for you, Kunal, from Girish. And he wants a view on Chambal fertilizers for the short term.
To me on the charts, I would suggest if you're looking to buy, you can buy for a target of 430, stop loss at 390.
Okay, Kunal, coming back to you, Aditya Birla Fashion Retail, bought at levels of 281.9. Questions coming from Imran. He's asking whether he should hold, should he add, or should he exit?
You can look to hold, keep a stop loss closer to 262, and on the upside, I would expect 300 as the positional target for ABFRL.
Okay, Raju wants to know what should he do with Tata Coffee. He wants to know whether he should hold or sell. Sharmila?
I think he can continue.
BPCL bought at levels of 433. Would you suggest a hold on this, Sharmila?
No, I would recommend a sell.
All right, this one is coming in from Vishal. He wants to know about 3 companies that he should look to buy in the ethanol space for 3 to 4 years horizon. He already has Balrampur Chini in his portfolio. Sharmila?
Yeah, I think we just answered that question. So Praj Industries could be another, and maybe another sugar stock. Maybe you could look at Renuka Sugars or Gwari Group.
Okay, NMDC, would you suggest that Majumdar from Kolkata can buy Sharmila on the basis of fundamentals?
No, I wouldn't recommend.
Okay, Venkateswaran wants to know if Himmat Singha side is worth buying for the long term. Sharmila?
I'm afraid I don't follow that.
Okay, Larsen and Toubro Infotech, you have said that you can buy at this juncture, right, Sharmila?
Yes, that's a...
All right, this next one that I have is coming in from Achal, and Achal wants to know about Tata Steel and Nalco, worth looking at it for the longer term. We had the discussion, but Sharmila, for the benefit of our viewers, what should she do?
Yes, I think you can look at a longer term as well.
Gujarat Narmada Valley Fertilizers and Chemicals is the name of the counter. Can it be bought at the current market price, Kunal? This is a question coming from RK.
It was one of the best performing cap names till 2 months back. I would suggest a buy. The stock come back towards a good support point.
All right, and with that, we come to the end of the rapid fire as well as the query segment. Thank you so much, Kunal, as well as Sharmila, for joining us on the show, giving us your take on the metal space, which is actually seeing sharp cut in today's trading session, as well as resolving our viewer queries. And viewers, we will be back tomorrow, so do write into us, do tune into the show and ask all your queries, and we will try and accommodate all of them. But on that note, we slip into a break on this edition of Buy Now Sell Now. Stay tuned, lots more on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
Check messages by the exchanges on a weekly basis regarding balances of funds and